Hi guys, I just want to start things off with a quick apology. The YouTube channel as of late has been quite inactive, but going forward we're going to have a lot more video reviews and more content going up. And to kickstart things, we've got the new BitPhoenix Outlaw, which is behind me here. As you know, BitPhoenix recently have been pursuing entry-level budget style of casing, and the Outlaw is one of these. As you can see, very similar to the Shinobi, it's elegant, it's minimalist, but the significant thing about Outlaw is the unique layout on it. You remove this side panel, and this would be the place that you'd actually install your kit inside. On a typical case, you'd remove this side panel and it would be the back of the motherboard tray, but things are totally different. We've got an inverted motherboard tray on this. Obviously when we go into the video you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, as I say, this is a budget style of case. You're looking at £40 for this over in the UK, and if you're over in the States you're looking at about $60 US. So it's very affordable. So I hope you enjoyed the video anyway guys. If you've got any comments, please just drop them in the box below. Okay, so starting things off, we've got the front of the Outlaw, which uses the BitPhoenix Soft Touch. This Soft Touch we've seen on previous BitPhoenix cases such as Colossus and Survivor, and it's basically a material which is a matte finish, but it's also very smooth and it can prevent scratching and smear marks. And the front of it is actually very plain. It takes on that minimalist look, and I really like the Soft Touch. It's a good material to use. Moving up over the case, we've got the 3 5¼ bays for optical storage, and then at the top of Outlaw we've got front panel connectivity, and we've got various ports we can take advantage of. Here we've got the 4 USB 2 ports, we've got a microphone and a headphone jack, a large power button there, and then a smaller reset button just in case you accidentally press that. They've made that a little bit smaller. And you'll notice that there's no USB 3 ports here. And the reason for this is BitPhoenix are obviously trying to keep the cost down because it's a budget, a entry-level case. So to keep those costs down, they've chosen to leave USB 3 absent from this case. And further back, we've got dual outlets for 120mm fans at the top. Obviously these aren't pre-installed, but we do have the option there to increase the air cooling within Outlaw. There's no fan filters at the top though. As I mentioned during the intro, the Outlaw features an inverted motherboard tray. So this is the prominent side panel, whereas on the other side, on a typical case, you would have the prominent side panel on that side. So once we remove the 2 thumb screws, the side panel just comes off like this, and you can see there it does flex a little bit, but really good build quality for a budget case. As expected from BitPhoenix, always good quality. And then here you can see the overall outlook. It's totally different from what you would typically expect, and a little bit different. It's a unique design. Graphics cards at the top, facing the fans actually facing the top. So if you were to put your dual fans at the top, the 120mm, you really would want those to be intake rather than exhaust to help draw out the air through the back. CPU coolers at the bottom with the power supply, and we've also got the exhaust fan, which is down near the CPU cooler as well. But anyway, we're going to take a close-up tour of all these components just so you can get a good idea and get close up and personal. In terms of cooling, inside the Outlaw we've got only one pre-installed fan. This is the 120mm Spectra, and this is obviously a rear exhaust, runs adjacent to the actual CPU cooler, so airflow would go out of the case as an exhaust. And then further up on the back panel there, we've got the 2 circular rubber grommets. Those are for tubing or cabling. And then we've got the 7 PCI brackets, the bracket covers. These are actually disposable, so we don't have the ability to be able to screw them back in once we've removed them. Once you take one out, you've pretty much got to bin it, and that's one of the pitfalls to this actual case. With it being a budget case, these are the sorts of things that you have to put up with at such a low cost. Getting your storage devices into Outlaw is very simple. All you need to do is pop your drive into one of the available slots, apply 2 thumb screws, and that's pretty much it. We don't actually have any toolless design mechanisms on Outlaw, but we do have 4 slots available on that cage, and we even have at the very bottom the ability to install a 2.5-inch SSD into the very base of the case. You just need to pop in the screws. And behind this cage we've got the ability to install 2 120mm fans. Those don't come pre-installed though. And then up at the very top, the optical storage is very similar. You're going to need to apply screws to these, and we've got 4 bays, but on the actual front of the case we've only got 3. Now in terms of clearance, for the graphics card we've got loads of space because it's basically next to the optical drive bay, and the thickness of the card fits perfectly inside. So unlike other cases where we've got a limited amount of clearance, with the Outlaw we can actually have cards which are 11-12 inches, and you know, if in the future they get any bigger, then there's no problem there either. So the idea of having the graphics cards at the top of the case works really well in this aspect. Due to the width of the Outlaw, we've got a bit of CPU cooler limitation. Now installed in here we've got the Noctua NH-U12P, which is 158mm in height. And if I just zoom in for you, you can see there the heat pipes, the top of the heat pipes are extremely close to the edge there. In fact, when I get the side panel on, there's literally only 1mm of clearance between the side panel and the top of those heat pipes. So if you're looking at high-end CPU coolers, such as the Noctua NH-D14, Thermalright Silver Arrow, those are 168mm in height, so you're not going to be able to install these into here, but you should be able to get away with anything under that. So if you're going to go for a Corsair or an Antec pre-contained liquid cooler, then you're going to have no problems at all. Behind the motherboard tray we've got a very limited amount of clearance there. You're literally talking only 1mm of clearance, and you know, to get those thicker cables across that tray it's going to be impossible. So what Bitfenix have done is they've created a nice adequate amount of space next to the hard disk drive cage. And as you can see, I've threaded those cables through because there's cutouts there provided, and you can get all your thicker cables like your 24-pin, your PCI Express, eATX, and so although you've got no space behind the actual tray itself, there is adequate space there. So Outlaw is good for cable management. So there you have it, that's the new Bitfenix Outlaw, and as you've seen from the video, for £40 you're going to be hard pushed to find anything that's of similar build quality. Of course you've got that unique layout design with the inverted motherboard tray, and I know already that there's been quite a few people that have bought this just because it's got a unique design to it. It's something that's a little bit different, a different take on the way we build setups. So there's going to be an opportunity to actually have this case. I'm going to offer it to one of our lucky readers. So if you jump over to our forums, and I'll leave the link in the description of this video also. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen anyway in this video review. If you've got any comments or any questions, just leave them in the box below, and I'll see you soon.